Horizon. You see, I keep wanting to say Forbidden West. Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one, the OG, the one that I think is a much better game.
Wow.
It got a remaster. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I don't know why. People like getting money. Listen, there's no reason for this remaster to exist, but I will say this. This game looks so much better than a remaster sticker on a box would suggest. Because I think this is almost like one of those like borderline on remake territory. And that's purely because of all the improvements that they made for Forbidden West, that they could like bring this older game into an engine with that technology and make it look so much better. And I do think it's a case of the sort of like your mind's eye thing. You're going to play it and be like, yeah, this is how it always looked.
Oh,
but
no.
until you... No.
back,
If you put it side by side, you're like, oh no, this is a drastically better looking game. Like, we need to remember that for Zero Dawn came out on PS4 and was already then targeting, base PS4. It was one of the first marquee like PS4 Pro titles, which is why
early.
it was like
early in
fancy.
that console.
Yeah, it was like 2016, I think.
Somewhere
around there.
Yeah.
So it was just after the PS4 Pro launched, or just as it launched. I remember Mark Cerny making a big deal about like HDR and stuff like that. But even then, it looked good. It ran really well. It was still a technical achievement for the PS4. But when Forbidden West came out, it blew everything out the water then. It's still probably one of the best looking PS5 games out there.
Yeah.
Just an incredible amount of detail, beautiful lighting. And I think applying that to the older game is a great way to get people who maybe missed out on the first one to return to this one. Or just a really neat way to get more developers skilled up on this engine, because a lot of the times that's what these remasters are. It's like we are bringing in new people in a team, we're skilling up people for a new project. How do we make that as productive as possible? And The Last of Us being remastered on the PS4 and subsequently the PS5 again, that was kind of the approach, or at least that's what's been said is the approach, is to skill up people on these tools while also making a project that is substantial. And if that means they needed more people to get up to speed with these things to work on the live service Horizon game that they're currently working on, then cool. We get a really good looking remaster out of it. And I think if you've never played Zero Dawn, this is absolutely the way to play it now. It's a $10 upgrade on the game if you already own it. It's I think $50 or so. I don't think it's like full price for just the straight up purchase. But yeah, it looks really good. Like I'm not gonna replay Zero Dawn fully again. I've done it like twice already at this point because it came out on PC as well and stuff like that. But I hopped into an older save and I was already in the thick of it and just running around that world. And I'm like, yeah, this feels like Forbidden West's world, but it is Zero Dawn. And so it's very easy to trick myself into thinking this is how it always looked. But like the vegetation is so much richer. You've got, that like red flowing grass that you think has always been in there and it's not been there. It never looked that good. The facial capture is so much better. Like, and again, it's only when you go back and look and you go, ooh, Zero Dawn by today's standards doesn't really hold up in terms of facial capture and animations and stuff. And back then it was seen as a premier thing.
Yeah.
But now it really is on the level that you expect it to be. There's been, I think, more motion capture was recorded in the studios, and there's far more emotion in a lot of the faces, which really brings a lot of the conversations to life in a new way. So it's good. It's really good. If you have any sort of passing interest in revisiting this game, I think the $10 upgrade especially is a fairly easy recommendation to make. And I know I especially was quite negative on this even being a thing, because I just don't think we need remasters of games that are barely 6 years old. But if it's going to be done to this quality, then sure, why not?
Yeah.
Because it is fundamentally like a much better product. It isn't just like here's the same thing, we've just changed the output resolution because we now have the GPU horsepower to support that. It's like, no, we've gone in and really altered how this game looks and how it functions, and there's a lot of work, and you can see there's been a lot of work done here, and yeah, it's really cool. The lighting especially as well just looks so much better.
I think
great game. Yeah,
I think it's also just really nice that you've got the $10 upgrade option. I think you're right. A lot of people fall into this thing of like, yeah, we're going to remaster this game and then full price. Yeah, we're gonna milk this franchise. Whereas like, yeah, it's a lower price. I mean, it's still, it's not like cheap, but it's $50 if you've never owned the game. All I've got. I mean, I'm with you. I'm not gonna commit the time to replaying it. But if I were a big enough fan, I own Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I'll pay $10 just to. And it's funny. I think there's a financial person out there somewhere who worked out like, yeah, we'll have 1 million people just pay the $10 just to see what it looks like, and that's it.
100%.
They won't play the whole game, but they'll pay just to have the upgraded version. Let's do it. People will do it.
Absolutely. There are very smart actuaries out there doing all of these number crunching things. Like 100%. I mean, if we ever got like raw sales in these sort of division of new sales and upgrades, I would be super fascinated to see what that is, because I think you're right. I think there would be a lot of people paying that, and maybe their playtime would be like under 2 hours. Like, I'm guilty of that. I've done that before. I've, a lot of the times it's with free upgrades, but I'll download it just to see it and barely play it. Now, if you tell me that is a 100 Rand upgrade, and say it's for a franchise I really, really love, like very passionate about, then of course I'm going to do that.
Journey
just to see
is
what
getting
it is.
a remake today.
I've bought Journey multiple times.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, I bought it on PS4, I had it on PS3, I bought it on PC when it came out because I wanted to see what it looked like on this platform. So yeah, you're 100% right. People will do that. I just think, there, like you said, there are a lot of examples of where this is definitely a sort of cash grab thing, but I think especially in this case, it almost felt like they wanted to make a point of, no, we are putting a lot of work into this. We want to set the standard for what a remaster looks like, because maybe we're going to keep doing this more and more often with more modern games. And if this is the sort of benchmark they set for themselves and the sort of quality we get underneath a remaster label, then I'm all for it. Like, Spider-Man Remastered, which came out with Miles Morales when the PS5 launched, it wasn't on this level. Like, it looked better, but it wasn't like a fundamental rework of that game. It was more like, okay, here's a native PS5 version of this game that definitely runs better, but this is like a night and day difference between the original and now. And I'm curious to see if they, other games get this sort of treatment. Like, will we get the original God of War done in the sort of like Ragnarok improved engine?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't know. Will we get, I don't know, Death Stranding works in the Decima engine just like Horizon. Will we get a very reworked first Death Stranding just after the second one comes out next year sometime? So who knows? It's cool. Like, if this is how they're going to train new developers, then I'm all for it, because they make a bit of money. People get a really, really good looking game as a result. And if it makes the game to come in the near future better, then cool.
By all means,
I'm on board for that. Yeah. I'm still not super convinced that a live service Horizon game is the best way to go, especially given the issues Sony has had recently with trying to turn its mega franchises into live service games. You just have to ask anyone at Naughty Dog how that went with Factions. I don't know. We'll see. I think of the properties that have tried to be morphed into live service games, Horizon probably has the most juice to squeeze there, because it is the sort of thing, like, you could see Horizon being a co-op, 4-player co-op Monster Hunter like.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I think they've got the foundation there. So.
Yeah, there's absolutely the combat foundation is absolutely there. Whether it's a thing that people will spend a bunch of time playing, I'm not so sure, but I'm curious to see the attempt. I just know that it's going to be a long, long time till we get a third Horizon, and so if you enjoyed Forbidden West and you're pining for something new, then this could scratch that itch for the next, I don't know, who the fuck knows, couple of years until that comes. So
the next decade, just
on the next decade,
play one chapter. Yeah, you'll be cool.
Yeah, and it is. I think I know I joke that it's a better game. I do actually believe that, but I think that's because it's just a more focused experience as opposed to Forbidden West, which I think is really lost in its open world guff. So yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn just being a bit more streamlined, I think was a welcome reminder going back into it. I'm not going to play it all again, but it did remind me why I really enjoyed this game and didn't really click with it in the same way in Forbidden West. So yeah, it's good. It's out now. If you have absolutely nothing else to play, then sure, go for it.
Well, there you go.